Was our guest speaker here several years ago when we met in the back, and I can remember him projecting pictures on the wall in the village in Africa that he was taking responsibility for. However, he's now focusing on his hometown of Ottawa and trying to get us collectively to do the right thing about why people are... I've never understood it. I can swear I've never bought a plastic bottle of water because I always know that there's a tap somewhere that I can drink out of. And my hands aren't always clean, but what the heck. If I have to cup them and slap drink, I will.
Salvage that one.
So, he's a man of conviction and very well educated, and he's here to tell us about why we should stop buying bottled water in the city of Ottawa, and why the city of Ottawa as a municipality should take some responsibility to lead the charge to break this silly habit that many of us have developed. So thank you, Eric, for doing this, and please, the floor is yours. I want you to stand up, though.
Yeah, I'll stand up. Thank you, Daniel. I'll stand here. I want to talk, Daniel's right. I want to talk about the water in this bottle. It's Dasani, made by Coca-Cola. About 12 years ago, a bunch of us got concerned about this. Half of us were water engineers or water scientists or chemists, and we knew that the water in the tap of Ottawa was excellent. It's constantly regulated. Where'd you like to stand?
Right here.
There we go. There I got to stay here. Because so the waitress can get around me, I guess.
That's it.
Okay. And yet, knowing that the water in the tap was excellent and well regulated, constantly, there was this surge of the sales of bottled water, which began a few decades ago. About 1980, Perrier, they were selling sparkling water, which is carbonated water. And they said, well, why just not sell regular water? They called it clean spring water, which it wasn't, but it was a good name. And they started making a lot of money selling water in bottles. And suddenly everybody said, hey, we should do this too. So Coca-Cola started to make Dasani. Pepsi-Cola started to make Aquafina. Nestle got into this. By the way, the Nestle is a large seller of bottled water. And apparently in one meeting, the CEO of Nestle said, of course we're making a lot of money out of this. It's only water we're selling after all. That's why we're making a lot of money. Then we had Exa, we had Naya, and now other people are, hey, Tim Hortons says, woo, they're starting to sell Tim Hortons bottled water. And Loblaws is selling their water, and everybody's selling water. Why not? It's so low price, and you know what this costs in a store? About $1.80 or maybe even $2. This is half a liter. Now that would make a liter of this stuff $4. You know what gasoline costs for a liter? I saw it for $1. The water is 4 times the price of gasoline, folks. Now, you know what your water in your tap, your highly regulated, excellent quality water costs? Have you looked at your water bill lately? Well, if you check it out, you know what it costs for a whole liter? A whole liter, 2 of these. $0.25 cent. Now this is crazy. Something's wrong here somewhere. So this is what I'd like to talk about. We have excellent, fully regulated water at a very reasonable price being undone by highly branded bottled water that costs, if you do the calculation, about 1,500 times more than your municipal tap water. Is this crazy or what? The better water, okay, I say it's better. In McGill University last year, they said, let's look at the water in these bottles. So they got 5 companies. They got Dasani, they got Aquafina, they got Nestle, they got Exa, and they got Naya. And they did tests on 10 of each of them. And they found in those 50 tests, 30 of them had little bits of microplastic in the water in the plastic bottle. Basically, I can safely say that the quality in a plastic water bottle is no better than the water coming out of your tap. And sometimes it's worse. And yet you're paying 1,500 times more for it. So the question you've got to ask, excuse me, what's going on here? This is a single-use plastic bottle. You use it once and you throw it away. Oh, well, you try and recycle it. You know, the recycling story is amazing. The Canadian Bottled Water Association says, oh yes, we're recycling these. We recycle 70% of them. But when objective research institutes like Polaris and some United States companies try and say, all of them say, we aren't even recycling half of them. More than half end up in the environment. And where do they go in the environment? They go into landfills. I picked this up in the street. You find them in the street and alleys. And a lot of them go by the means of flowing water into the ocean. All water goes back to the ocean, bringing along with it these things. And we probably all know by now there's large islands of plastic floating around in the ocean. In the Pacific Ocean, there's a big swirl, and there's the largest of these islands is the size of France. There are little bits and big bits of plastic the size of France in the Pacific Ocean. In the Atlantic Ocean, there's another island of this stuff. So it's accumulating in the ocean as well as in the land. And studies show if we keep selling more and more of these bottles, and by the way, last year the sales of bottled water went up again. We're waiting for it to start to go down. It has not happened yet. If this keeps on happening, by the year 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish by weight. Think about it. More plastic in the ocean than fish if we keep doing what we're doing. This is a disaster in the making. And water in plastic bottles is just part of it. You might say, well, wait a minute. You're picking on... Bottled water is just one of many, many things. Plastification of the world is everywhere. We're plastifying food, we're plastifying toys, we're plastifying electric gadgets, and now you're picking on water. Well, you know why? You got to tackle this somewhere. You got to get a first step somewhere. And here you have an excellent alternative. The water coming out of the tap is at least as good, sometimes better than this water, and it's much, much cheaper. That's why we're emphasizing the water in the plastic bottles right now, because that's where you can start to tackle this problem. Now, I want to talk about this bottle a bit, because I looked at it carefully. This is the Dasani, and it says in here that this is manufactured by Coca-Cola Refreshments of Canada. Now, I want to see what they're advertising. This is really interesting. This is demineralized water. It's done by reverse osmosis. Now, osmosis is a phenomenon where fresh water will go into more water with higher mineral content and balance it out. Reverse will take the highly mineralized water and push it through a membrane and make it pure. Demineralized water is another word for distilled water. If you take all the minerals out of water, it's distilled. It's the kind of water that falls from the rain with the rain, because when water evaporates, it's only the H2O that goes up. It leaves all the minerals behind. That's why the ocean is so salty, because after billions of years of evaporating from the ocean and going over the land and raining, the ocean keeps having the salt. So if this is demineralized water, which they say it is, and they're very proud of it, this is distilled water. The water out of your tap is not distilled. It has good minerals in it. The water in the tap has calcium and magnesium, about 30 millimeters per liter. That's very soft water. By the way, since when did mineralized water get to be so terrible? Calcium and magnesium Our body needs it. A lot of people drinking this, they take pills of calcium magnesium because the body needs it, but they've taken it out of the tap water. By the way, another interesting fact, you got to get this. Dasani and Aquafina, what is the source of their water? It is the tap itself. Well, look, if you can get it for a quarter of a cent a liter and sell it for $4 a liter, hey, why not just take it out of the tap? Nestle gets most of its water from groundwater, and they almost get it for free. In 2016, in British Columbia, Nestle was paying $2.25 for the privilege of taking 1 million liters of groundwater out of the ground. Now there's a lot of absurdities here. This is the power of corporations to persuade people, oh, let us have the water, we will spread it around in these wonderful plastic bottles. So, this is the story. They're getting it cheap and they're selling it expensive. Now, I'm looking at this again, because this is really, really interesting to read the fine print in this thing. This has no fluorides in it. Oh boy. Well, we got to say a little word about fluorides. People go a bit ballistic about fluorides. Fluorides, some people say, oh, I drink it because there's no fluorides, because fluoride is very dangerous. Fluorides in a very small amount will definitely stop cavities in your teeth. A lot of studies have proven this. Recently, Alaska stopped doing fluorides in 2006, and then they went back now in 2019 and checked it, and the rate of caries had gone up. Well, you might say, well, it could be for other factors. But the World Health Organization advocates fluorides, and the U.S. Center for Diseases, and I'm going to quote here, says, fluoridation of water is one of the 10 great public health achievements of the 20th century. I think if you look at fluorides enough, you say fluorides are very useful in small amounts. Why are people so freaked out about fluorides? I think it's because with a lot of minerals, not just fluorides, but in small amounts they're very effective, they do what they're supposed to. In larger amounts, they get to be dangerous. It's true of fluorides, and I'll explain later, it's true of chlorine also. If you increase the rate of fluorides, we were in Africa, there's a tribe called the Kikuyu, had a lot of natural fluorides in the water, and their teeth were brown and mottled. So as the fluorides go up, your bones get more and more hard and more brittle. And there was fluorides landing on an island in the St. Lawrence, and the cows were eating grass full of fluorides, and their bones became so sharp and brittle they had fluorosis. That's why people say, oh, fluorides are dangerous. Oh, I want something that has no fluorides, which is this. The trouble is, they're taking the extreme case and say a little bit also must be dangerous. That's why a lot of people freak out about fluoride. Let me tell you something about another chemical, chlorine. Have you ever heard of anybody complaining about chlorine? Some might, but not many. Let me show you something. This is a graph, and I'm a water engineer, so I used to teach this stuff. And about 100 years ago, there were all kinds of waterborne diseases. This is a rate of the typhoid water transmission by water. In 1906, we started to filter the water, passing it through sand, and we dropped the rate of typhoid. And then in the year 1913, we introduced chlorination. Look what happened with the typhoid rate. It went down. So everybody who thinks about it all says, ha, chlorine kills the bacteria, therefore it's good. But you know what? If you have too much chlorine, it also is dangerous, just like the fluorides. And in fact, that's what Syria used in their gas attacks, because you couldn't control chlorine. They needed it for chlorination, then they used it. So too much chlorine is dangerous, but a little chlorine. And anyway, The chlorination of water takes place in the water treatment plant. And they only put a little wee bit, it's called residual chlorine, so that if the water as it goes through the pipe meets some other bacteria, it will be killed. There's almost no chlorine in your water. It's all done in the water treatment plant. The chance of you having any chlorine to think about is zero. So, why am I going on about this? Because I've met people who say, I drink this because it has no fluorides in it. Well, hello, fluorides in small amounts are excellent for stopping cavities, and we're not going to give you fluorosis, so there you go. I go on and on about this. They're advertising it. This is supposed to be good. It's like distilled water. It's got nothing in it. It's calories, nothing. Fat, nothing. Carbohydrates, nothing. Protein, nothing. It's like distilled water, and you're paying 1,500 times more than what you're getting out of the tap. And what you're getting out of the tap, this is regulated once or twice a year. The tap water is regulated 300 times a day. Now, it's not always people running around taking samples, it's sensors. Why are they regulating it so constantly? So that if there is a breakdown or a crisis, you'll find out about it immediately. The water in the tap is regulated more than 100,000 times a year or 300 times a day. Whew! I go on and on about this because it really is quite a story. No, look at this. This is good. This is good. Now, not only is this demineralized, has no fluorides, has almost no dissolved solids, the water we have in the tap has minerals in it. It has calcium, it has magnesium, it has potassium. Those are the big three, and then there's small amounts of other things. So it's good mineralized water in the tap. This is demineralized, but you're paying a lot more for it. But here's the killer. This thing, this single-use plastic, which is a pet number one. First of all, the danger of this PET1. There's 7 grades. And this is the most flexible in almost all water or juices is in PET1. With time, a thing called antimony, which is a dangerous heavy metal, will slowly come out of this. When we started our OSAG, by the way, OSAG stands for Ottawa Water Study Action Group, and we're trying to get people to be supporters of this. We're going to have some actions. If you'd like to know about it, sign your name here, and we have a website, osagottawa.org. Look at it. It's all kinds of good stuff.
Can we start over here?
Oh, there you go. If you'd like to just get some information, put it down. If not, just pass it along. So I was, okay. Yeah. The OSAG thing, I digress because I wanted to get that circulating around. Oh yeah, I'm talking about the bottle. Oh, we're so proud of this bottle. Listen to this. Up to 30% of this bottle is made from plants. It's 100% recyclable plastic bottle. Okay, 100% recyclable. That's great. We know by the statistics that they never get even 50% of them recycled. But anyway, if it is recycled, this could be recycled. I gave a talk last week to the city council about this because we're trying to get the city council to stop selling these things in the municipal buildings, to send a message and promote their own tap water with fountains. And one of the city councilors said, well, wait a minute, these new bottles are having a wonderfully recycled and they're biodegradable even, and so that's not so bad, is it? I said, you know what? Why bother even making the bottle, and then you got to worry about recycling it when the water is coming to you out of a tap from a municipal supply system? You said, well, yeah, that would be a better solution. Here's the point. The corporations are making so much money on this. They've got to be making a lot of money. That's why everybody's jumping on the gravy train, including Tim Hortons. They want to hang on this bottle because that's where the money is. If you get low-priced, well-regulated water out of the tap, they're not going to be able to make. You know what? Another thing we say, well, wait a minute. If you have a breakdown and the water's not trustworthy, then I say, yeah, you know, our OSAG statement as there are 3 times when it's really good to use bottled water. 1, if you're in the third world and the water out there is so full of bacteria it's dangerous, go ahead, use bottled water. 2, there's been a breakdown in your system, like the pipe is broken and the earth is getting in, use bottled water. And 2, if somebody is terrorized and put some horrible stuff in your municipal system, it'll be picked up immediately by the constant regulation, but then you, so, you know what, occasionally it's okay to use plastic water bottles, but not every day. You know what, 1 in 5 Canadians drink all of their water from plastic bottles. Hey, why not? You go into Loblaws, I was in Loblaws and a guy was walking out with a big bunch of bottles for a really low price, and I did a calculation, and instead of $2 for one of these, it came down to about 8 cents. In fact, some of them on a sale go down to 6 cents. Well, why wouldn't I buy it? It's almost free. They give it to me for 6 cents a bottle. But you still have the environmental problems. You still have the fact that better water's coming out of your tap. This is what we're up against. Even at 6 cents a bottle, somebody can make money on this. Think how much they're making at $2 a bottle. Where am I going here? Well, I'm going to close up by saying that our OSAG group, and the thing is being circulated around, we're working on some projects to wake people. We got 2 goals. 1, wake the public up about this. That's why I'm here. You're the public. And you're going to tell all your friends about this. And they're going to tell all their friends about this. And even Peter is videotaping this. It may go on our website. By the way, we've got a wonderful woman working on our website. She worked with Council of Canadians for 9 years. She was the water campaigner. Her name is Emma Louie, and she does our website. She is fantastic. And go into it, osagottawa.org. It's simple. Go into it and take a look. I keep digressing. Where was I? OSAG, yeah. What we're planning to do.
One word, yes.
OSAG stands for Ottawa Water Study Action Group. You know why I called it that? First we study, then we act. Ottawa Water Study Action Group, OSAG. Now what are we doing? We're actually going to do something. We're planning, eventually, we're asking all our members, start collecting these. You find them everywhere. And we're going to have sometime, probably later in the summer, a big dump.
Yeah.
We're going to dump these things somewhere right in the front of City Hall so people can't have to walk through them or around them. And say, you know what, this is a terrible idea. Before that, and in March the 20th, we picked March the 20th because March the 22nd is World Water Day, and March the 18th or something is Bottled Water Free Day. So right in the middle, we're going to go to almost all the city vending machines where they sell this stuff. By the way, why does the city sell this stuff? Because they got really nice contracts with Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola, and they got monopoly contracts to sell this stuff all over the city. We're saying the city should not do this. They should promote their own drinking water with fountains. And we're going to March the 20th, and if you put your name down there, you'll find out about it. It's simple. We're just going to go everywhere and put little stickers saying, you know what, there's a lot better water just around the corner at the fountain. Don't buy bottled water. And if you'd like to, what do we got here? Oh my gosh. More water. Somebody gave me some free water.
No, I'm not giving you that. That's my souvenir. They gave it to me free in a liquor store in Toronto on Christmas when I walked out with 3 bottles of wine.
Lovely.
They said, we want you to start buying this. $2.50 a container. Now that's an aluminum container.
Oh, aluminum.
It's frozen because
Now we're
it's
getting
my
really fancy.
Oh, good.
We're getting fancy. Where's my alternative? So we're going to have a sticker campaign. We're going to have, we hope we get the media on this. We'll have the raging grannies merrily sticking these things on vending machines and singing songs. And gosh, if we can get this into the citizens, we'll start to change the public. The other thing is, the other goal, as well as just alerting the public, is to encourage the city to promote more vigorously their own excellent tap water. that seems like a no-brainer, and we hope that they will. And that starts by not selling this stuff anymore in their own buildings. Oh, there we are. Now, well, okay, if you don't use this, then you should have a reusable bottle. You say, hey, wait a minute. There, you got another bottle that's full of plastic. I gotta say something about plastic. You know what? Plastic is not all bad. There are really good things you can do with plastic. Check your table. Check your cell phone. Plastic. There's plastic all. If you use plastic, good hard #2 plastic for something that will last maybe forever, not forever, but a long time, and will not corrode, will not rust, that's okay. But the two biggest uses of plastic now are terrible. One, we're putting it in internal combustion automobiles, burning it, and throwing the exhaust into the air. That's a wrong thing to do with fossil fuels. The other thing is we're making single-use containers and throwing them in the environment. Two bad things to do with fossil material. The good thing is to make long-lasting hard plastic. That's okay. So I'm saying here, it'd be even better if this were metal. But this is #2 plastic. It has no BPA in it. BPA is one of the dangerous things that comes out of plastic into water, and this doesn't have it. So there are alternatives to this kind of thing. Now, I'm almost done, thank God, eh? Yeah, so we are planning some actions, and I hope you'll sign this thing and at least look into, is it going around?
Yes,
Yeah.
right here.
Go and look at our website. We finally got online. After 20 years we get online. Hello, we're a little slow. But MLU,
What is your website?
OSAGOttawa.org.
Oh, okay.
OSAG Ottawa, all one little
How
word.
do you spell OSAG?
OWSAG, Ottawa Water Study Action Group. OSAGOttawa.org. That'll do it. Yeah, okay, we can have some questions. Yeah.
I'm wondering if you did analysis on how much it would cost to recycle the bottles and then put that out, if that would, because when we think about it, our municipalities are paying for
Yeah.
the recycling and we're paying the taxes for that. If people started to see, like,
That's a really good comment. Yeah, how much does it cost to recycle these things? Well, that's a cost for the city. We're going to have a meeting with Catherine McKinney, who's the councillor for the Capital Ward, with Diane Holmes and Clive Doucette, there's two extra, and we're going to get these costs and tell the city, you know what, even if you sell them, then you have to pay for the recycling costs, and that could be quite significant. If you don't even have a bottle and therefore don't have to recycle it, you save yourself that money. Good question. We got to get those figures in costs and get it and use it. Yes.
Just a suggestion, another argument I think would be the carbon footprint of bottling all that water and trucking it around. It's enormous compared to
Excellent. Yes, it is. It's true.
Putting
It's
water
true.
in a pipe and just pumping it.
Yeah. That's another cost they could avoid by using the municipal supply system. Yes.
You touched on testing the bottles, and you found small particles of plastics in
Yeah,
them.
they have. In
My
McGill
question
University.
here is, does that going to apply to other, like juices and other things?
Yeah.
Where, it is just spiral down into other things as well.
You know, these microplastics are so small, they get through everything. I have to make a mention, there's even some microplastics in the municipal water. It's really hard to get all over it, but boy, they give it the best try they can. And yes, and it's in other, look, the bottled water thing will then transfer to the juice water and all kinds of things, but we're starting with bottled water. And the microplastics are, they're prevalent all around. We're trying to cut them down, it's not easy to get rid of them all. That's for sure, that's what I know. Yes, George, here's the chemist speaking.
Okay, well, there's one thing, thanks Eric for the expose. The one thing I want to draw people's attention to here, I'm sort of stuck in this, can't get the tables very close.
Trapped.
I'm trapped. Anyways, yeah, I'll sit. There's a health hazard by drinking water out of plastic bottles too.
Okay.
The more flimsy the bottle, the greater is the amount of plasticizer that's in the bottle. And these plasticizers, they're phthalate esters, and they leach out into the water. In fact, if you have something that's more lipophilic, like a polyethylene blood bag for catching the blood in the bag being more fat soluble, takes up the phthalate. In these bags, we analyze them for residual phthalate, up to 15 to 21% phthalate contamination of the blood in the collection of the longer it sits in the plastic bag, the higher the phthalate content. This phthalate, the ester, but in the mass spectrographic analysis of this thing, the phthalates are in everything. They're ubiquitous. It's a peak to charge mass of 149 that comes out. But the thing is, in the plastic, the water here, everybody's ingesting phthalate from the plasticizers, and people do not realize that. So it's a health hazard. It's no wonder that our fertility and other forms of health concerns are deteriorating.
Yeah, and the PET, the T in this is a PET. The T stands for phthalate, and it can leach out with time. The longer it sits. One thing about this plastic with a reusable one, even this is hard plastic, much less leaching. But the good thing is, you put your water in, you drink it, bing, it doesn't sit there forever. This, who knows how long this is sat on the shelf, and slowly the anidamine and the phthalates can slowly get into it. So it's a danger. It has inherent dangers in it, which is avoided in a water supply system where the water's constantly flowing through pipes. Yeah.
I'm just wondering, and I don't know, but what are the health hazards that leaching plastic does give, you know? Just to know what the connection is for people don't know, it's up there somewhere.
Yeah, there are health hazards for women and genetic transfers. I Googled it, and there's a number of, mainly it's with children and genetic transfer, but other things too. I'm sorry I don't know all the details, but Google it, you'll get it. That's a great answer, isn't it? Google it. Yes.
Thank you for the. But I think you've missed the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is being led by young girls in Europe, by my grandchildren in Scotland. And what Greta Thunberg has done is to make the EU come into line with climate change. Now, what you're saying is terrific. It's got to be put within the wider aspect of climate change. Because what we're doing, we're fighting climate change. And the old fogies here are not going to do it. It's the kids.
Thank you for that.
And what I'm doing now is getting brilliant young people in Quebec to organize. My grandchildren in Scotland, they have organized walk-ins every Friday from school. And it gets to the people who make the decisions. You've got to get to the decision makers. You've got to show them up. You've got to shame them, even. So the science and the details, I appreciate it. But we have to go into a much bigger place.
Totally, I totally agree with this man. He's saying that
My name is Ian.
Ian Prattis.
Ian Prattis.
Ian Prattis. This thing, we're talking about a little part of a huge issue, and the young are seeing the big picture and say, change the whole thing. It's no good tinkering around the edges. I'm saying this is one step in a large journey, but the young are taking the lead. That Swedish young woman, oh boy, listen to her, says, I want you to panic, she says. This is the big problem. And we're talking about a small part of the big problem. Yes?
Commenting on what Ian's saying, I'm thinking maybe she's a foodie these days, but Maud Barlow and her Blue Planet and the Council of Canadians might be an organization that you might.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, Emma Louie worked with them for 9 years, and she's still with them. Yeah. There's, fortunately, a lot of other groups are getting concerned about this too.
I thought there were questions over here. No?
What should a good restaurant owner do?
This is no one telling.
Offer only tap water. Yeah, do not sell this, offer only tap
By
water.
the way, we are one of the very few restaurants, when you sit at the table, we serve you water.
There you go, that's a start. Yeah, sorry, I agree with
Plus
this now.
money
A
for-
small step in a big problem.
There's a question.
One last question
Yeah.
about what does it take to have the government stop the bottled waters?
Yeah, it can be done, but I think it comes from the, governments only do it when there's public pressure on them.
Yeah.
They will not do it, even with the facts, they will fuddle it away because they're making a lot of money. The city council making a lot of money selling this in their buildings. You've got to come, and in fact, my own councillor, Matthew Fleury, said, you know what, we're not gonna do anything until we get pretty strong public pressure on us. That's the way it works. But it could eventually happen if we keep pushing.
Social media in the last couple of nights at least already put out a study, I forget what country, but in autopsies of babies, less than a year old even, the brain already has these microparticles in it. They're transferred while the mother's drinking water, never mind drinking wine or alcohol while you're pregnant. This is how invasive it is.
Yeah, we gotta get going on this. One last question?
Yeah, sure.
There you go.
Well, it's sort of a question and a summary, because if we connect the dots, that's what Grandfather William Commander was trying to get through to us. And that is what we do to the water and what we do to the earth, we already do to ourselves. And it is very inspiring. I was just at the celebration of life of Paul Dewar. And Paul had a very powerful message, that the most powerful resource on the planet, I used to say it's people waking up. But Paul was narrowing it right into, it's the youth. And it's the youth that have the energy, but it's the elders, the older people like ourselves. Born in 1944, I've seen a lot of life, and I've seen a lot of cultures, and I'm ashamed of the National Capital Region of Canada, in the heart of Canadian democracy, that has yet to see the significance of the cost to health because of the pollution of the planet right here. And so if we look at what we're doing around just simple plastic water in bottles, we don't drink enough water, first of all. We drink it from plastic, and we're seeing rising and increasing rates of cancer along the Algonquin River watershed. If we can help City Hall to see they have a vested interest to be leaders at a municipal level, to ban plastic so people can understand water can help costs of disease that are skyrocketing as our hospital care systems can't cope with the aging population and the young people getting cancer. So this cost analysis proved to them how much they're going to save in costs and help them to inspire the rest of Canada, like Toronto City Hall banning plastics. What the heck is the matter with Ottawa City Hall?
There's something wrong. Ottawa's a
There's something in
laggard.
the water in Ottawa.
Ottawa's a laggard here. Vancouver has banned selling bottled water in their municipal. Toronto has. Montreal is right now doing it. They're doing it. And PEI is getting rid of plastics all over the place. We are the capital of Canada, and we're behind. And I told the municipality that, and let's hope that with enough pressure we'll stop being behind so much. Yeah.
Sylvia was promised that she's got something to offer you.
All right.
So again, for people that don't choose to only have the tap water, Ultra Health has just opened its doors in terms of helping restaurants and people that have places where they have the vending machines, but to actually have hydrogenated, alkalized water. So it is another option for a solution. Certainly the restaurants get it for free, so they can actually start to help people realize that they are drinking tap water, but they're actually just drinking water that is healthy for them. You know, down to like 25 cents a liter for sure. Anyways, I can just pass out some of the information. The website is available for people to check out. So ultrahealth.ca.
Well, one last quick question.
I don't have any statistics on this, but it has struck me over the last couple of years that public buildings, and these would be municipal buildings too, schools, no longer have water fountains.
No.
I've been in buildings and looked for a water fountain for a little sip of
Oh,
water.
yeah. We've got to get the fountains back, for sure, for sure, yeah.
So thank you very much, Eric. You're a great leader in our community. We really appreciate it. I've asked our patron, the owner of Newport,
Elvis's guy.
Elvis's buddy. He channels Elvis, and past Businessman of the Year Moatella, to explain to us what they do here at the Newport on Christmas Day. And I'm thinking we might want to chip in and help. Mo?
I don't want to hold you too long. We have a lot to do. I'll make it as short as I can. Very interesting about the water. I used to drink from bottled water. Now I cut down on that. When I am in the car, I get it, but I didn't know how bad it is. And now you made me remember all the time. I am so honored to talk to you about what I do in Christmas Day. I came to Canada 44 years ago from Sybil-torn country, Lebanon. People, they were killing people for religious reasons, as if like God sent them to kill the others. That's what He appointed them for. And I came to a safe country here, Canada. I didn't have any money, $20 in my pocket, but thanks to people like you, in a great country like this country, I never, ever, ever felt hungry, starving, needed anything. It was bright from the first moment, first day. So I worked in restaurants, as I did in Lebanon, and finally I ended up buying the old Newport on Richmond Road in Churchill. So I wanted to thank the people around Christmas time. For us, Christmas is important, not so much for the church religion, it was for giving and thanking and doing the right thing, you know. So we opened the first Christmas, and we thought it would be good to thank our customers, but then they wanted to help me too. So they came with presents and stuff. I'm thinking, no, I don't need it. Take it. I want to do for you, as you did for me since I came to Canada. Of course, nobody listened. They brought more and more. So the first year we served 80 people. Second year we served about 200 people. Before we were saying for needy, but now we said for everybody.
Do you charge at Christmas for those meals?
No.
Do you charge?
No. No, not only we made the turkey and the stuffing and the fruits and the cookies and we did the toys for because people, they had children. So we were serving in the end about 1,500 people per day. Yeah, it's people, they think, well, he served. No, it's a lot of work. It takes about a year to work it because we have to figure how many scarves, how many mitts, how many toys for 10 years, how many toys for 20 years. So, but I had a lot of volunteers. I always take credit, but it's not for me. It's for lots of people around me. It's like people like you, they did most of that work. And I was able to be successful with it. At the same time, when we're in the Newport, Meals on Wheels, they do Christmas Day for people they don't cook. And they are open except for Christmas Day. They couldn't open. They approached me. I said, I'll be glad to do. Now we're about 150, 200 people. I said, I'll be glad to do it. But because we were so busy at the other location, I said, why don't we do your stuff from this location? Because they have volunteers to deliver, you know. We opened this place. This is, I really don't know, but it's quite a few years ago, maybe 10, maybe 15. I do not like to count how much money I raised, what did I do. I like to move on, you know. It's a matter of like a second decision, you know, and I do it. So we committed to them, and we started doing this one. When I leased the other location, old age, lots of my friends are dying, and I'm thinking I'm going next. I wanted my daughter to move from this location to the Newport, but said it's too big, Dad. I'd rather this one. So we stuck with this one, and we leased the other one. We lost the Christmas Day celebration, but we wanted to do something for Christmas. So I'm teaching my daughter, if I die tomorrow, you take over that Meals on Wheels, because we want to do something that day. And we started here, and now we open Christmas Day here for them. They're usually between 125 to 150, but the restaurant is open for anybody. You know, I don't advertise it because I got 1,000 people. I don't know what to do here. I have a lot of food, really, but because we make more food, we don't know how much. So we will cook for about 300 people. And we do the turkey. I mean, that's simple meal, but you have to roast turkey. You know, if you cook turkey, how do you carve it, stuffing, vegetable, and of course, food safety, because that's why the Meals on Wheels, they had a problem. They were going to churches, and there, the food safety was maybe none, you know. So you have, and we do the gravy, the sauce, and the mashed potatoes. So we do it here with fruits, and we open that day around 8 o'clock, and we finish by 2 o'clock. And we living on volunteer, on people like you. That's how we do it. I used to, in the beginning, I started paying my cooks, my waitresses, and people, they were saying, Mo, don't pay them, we'll do it. At the old location, we used to have about 150 volunteers.
Nice.
And some of them, they don't have family. It was a fun thing for them to do. Some of them lost their husband, some of them lost, and some of them very lonely. And we used, it was a great pleasure, great honor. I used to do it with Max Keating, who passed away. We used to do it with, the mayor, lots of politicians, they will come. And Earl McRae passed away. I am, thank God, I am surrounded by good people around me, make me proud to live here, an honor to live here. I am blessed, and that's why I like to do that thing. It's always embarrassing to talk about good things, but for me, I remember that's how I did it. I seen other people, and I'm thinking, there must be something there. It is the joy of giving back, is the joy of doing something. You're able to improve other people's life. And now I will not serve them any more bottles. But I want to tell you on that, thank you for your time. I don't want to hold you. I know you have to go. On the other note, the juices you're talking about, they used to be in a glass bottle. But you know what? Plastic now. So what do you do with that too? And for us in the restaurant, if we do not have it, because we have a lot of people, they come, they want to buy it, and they want to go. That's, unless the people, they understand this is better for you and how to do it. Thank you for listening to my story.
No, I got it.
And try to make it short and sweet,
Mo is the best, he really is. My question to everybody is, do we want to help him volunteer on Christmas Day? I do, I'd like to. And I thought perhaps
before.
Well, yeah.
So we'll keep you posted. Christmas is a little way away, but if we could start thinking about it, and whatever you need, whatever we can do to help, please let me know.
All what we need is people to help us. Money, not an issue. well, that's a done thing, you know, so.
Okay, good.
All what we need people to be here, maybe even drive for Meals on Wheels, you know, they'll appreciate that too.
Sure,
Somebody
absolutely.
will
Okay, so we'll think about that, we'll talk about it more. Thank you very much for coming. Looks like David's leaving. That means the rest of us should be going. Neville, you're our speaker next month. What are you going to talk about?
Cuba.
This man goes to Cuba every year to help people and has been doing it for 24 years. So he knows the real Cuba, and he's going to talk to us about the real Cuba that he knows.
No, I was gonna ask, what kind of help would he require?
What kind of help? Well, tell us about what
Is it in the
the
kitchen,
volunteers do
driving
on Christmas
food?
Day.
What kind of help?
Is it food prep?
But, yeah, we will show you, don't worry.
Just show up.
But if you know how to cook, then you can cook. If you don't know how to cook, you come here because my cooks, they prepare the food already. It's already prepared the day before because we carve the turkey, we have everything ready. We can't do it the same day. It will be impossible. All what we do, we heat it up and we have everything lined up. Really, it's very simple for the volunteer.
So what are you saying? That there's a container and you're gonna put the meal in the container?
That's right.
And so it's all on
So
the assembly line?
I am here every Christmas, and so I'm teaching my daughter. So we have a measuring cup like that, and we put the stuffing, you know. Then we do the sliced turkey, and we put it on top of another guy. Then another guy will put the mashed potatoes. Then the other guy will do the vegetable. Then the other guy will do the gravy in a container. We put them in a nice container, not plastic. They wrap it and we close it and we seal it and they deliver it. So like there is a step of 5-6 people doing that job, and we heat up with our cook stove because we don't want you to touch the ovens and stuff like that in case you burn your stuff. So we will do it, but you can do the final work. Yeah, but it's very simple. It's very organized. Remember, this is done at, we have been doing it for, I don't know, 30 years. So now we know how to make it easy. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for all.